Every like, every comment, every new subscriber fuels the next story. So if you enjoy uncovering the untold moments of war, stay with us. This is just the beginning. In early 1944, deep over France, a lone P-47 Thunderbolt roared through the clouds. The pilot, young, confident, and part of the U.S. 56th Fighter Group, had lost formation during a bomber escort mission. German radar picked him up. Within minutes, two Messerschmitt Bf-109s scrambled from a nearby Luftwaffe airbase. A chase began across the French countryside. Roaring engines, tracer rounds cutting through the clouds. The Thunderbolt took hits. Fuel lines ruptured. Smoke trailed behind the massive American fighter. The pilot bailed out. The P-47 crash-landed in a field outside Paris, mostly intact. Within hours, the Luftwaffe arrived. What they found was astonishing. A near-perfect example of the newest American warplane, the Republic P-47D Thunderbolt. They called Berlin immediately. The order came fast. Do not destroy. Transport it to Rechlin.
Transport it to Berlin immediately. These orders come from the highest command.
The arrival at Rechlin. The captured P-47 arrived on a train under heavy guard. German engineers swarmed it like ants, sketching every bolt, every curve. It was unlike anything they had seen, massive, rugged, and built like a tank. One engineer muttered,
"It's not the airplane. It's a flying fortress."
The aircraft dwarfed the Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs parked nearby. Its Pratt & Whitney R2800 double wasp engine looked monstrous compared to the sleek inline engines of German fighters. Luftwaffe officers were skeptical. Too heavy, one said. Too slow, another added. But the test pilots, men who had flown everything from Bf-109s to captured Spitfires, were intrigued. They requested to fly it. Preparing the Thunderbolt. For weeks, mechanics worked to restore the P-47. They patched bullet holes, cleaned out oil leaks, replaced a damaged propeller blade, and painted German crosses over the American stars. It looked bizarre. A U.S. fighter now bearing black Balkenkreuz markings. The test team gave it a code name, T9 plus FK. Fuel was a problem. The Thunderbolt's engine required high-octane American fuel. German fuel was lower grade, but engineers managed to adjust the mixture and boost settings to get the engine running. When the double wasp finally coughed to life, its deep growl echoed across the airfield. Everyone stopped to watch. The Luftwaffe's prize test pilot, Hauptmann Hans-Werner Lerck, stepped forward. He was going to fly it. First flight. Lerck taxied the P-47 to the runway. The ground shook beneath its weight. The takeoff roll was long, almost frighteningly long. But when the massive radial engine reached full power, the aircraft surged forward and lifted off effortlessly. In the air, Lerck was surprised. The controls were heavy but smooth. The plane felt stable, even at high speed. He tested the climb rate, roll, and dive. In a dive, the P-47 seemed unstoppable, steady and fearless as the speed increased. Lerck radioed the tower. "This thing dives like a stone, but climbs like an eagle." Back on the ground, he couldn't hide his astonishment. He told his superiors, "It is not elegant, but it is powerful, brutally powerful." The secret arrival. The captured P-47 was loaded onto a transport truck under the cover of night. German soldiers guarded it like treasure, headlights off, engines muffled. Their destination, Rechlin, the Luftwaffe's top-secret test center. Word spread quickly. The Americans had built something beyond belief. The test pilot's curiosity. When the P-47 arrived, engineers swarmed it like archaeologists. Every rivet, every panel,
studied, sketched, compared to their Bf-109s and Fw-190s. Luftwaffe test pilot Hauptmann Hans Werner Lerche climbed into the cockpit. He smiled. "It feels heavy," he said, "but strong." Moments later, the Thunderbolt's engine thundered to life, shaking the hangar walls. The flight test. The P-47 roared into the cold morning air, climbing like nothing they'd seen. Lurch pushed the throttle. The aircraft kept rising, higher, faster. Below, German engineers stared at their instruments, speechless. Even against the best FW-19 in a parallel climb, the Thunderbolt kept pulling away. The shock. Back on the ground, Lurch stepped out, his gloves trembling. "It's heavy," he said, "but its power is endless." He reported the truth. The P-47 could outclimb any German fighter in service. Its rugged engine, turbocharger, and build, a fortress in the sky. Even Messerschmitt engineers admitted it quietly. The Americans have done it right. The report to Berlin. The Luftwaffe command received a full analysis. They learned the P-47's weakness, its turn rate, but admired everything else: its dive speed, its power, its ability to survive punishment. One general wrote, "If our pilots face this machine, they must never fight it in a climb." The legacy. Months later, German pilots across Europe whispered its name with respect. Thunderbolt, they'd say, half in fear, half in admiration. It was more than a plane. It was a flying symbol of American industry and power. And even the Luftwaffe's best had to admit it could outclimb anything they had.